Welcome to Hypo Brew. I'm Tom Brennan. I just wanted to show you guys quickly how I dry my hops. I actually have quite a bit of hops. This is actually the third harvest I've pulled already off my hop plant outside. It's actually gotten to be quite a monster even in its second year. And so far I've gotten about about 5 ounces of it. I'm going to dry these out. So very cheap and inexpensive way to do it. I just have a box fan laying straight up. I just have some supports here, so this way I get some air going in between. Then I have just some air filters that I picked up at probably Lowe's or Home Depot or something like that. Fairly cheap. And so what I'm going to do is just put, and then this is actually an old trick that I learned from Alton Brown for drying spices as well. So what I'm going to do is just put the first layer of the filter here, and then put on my wet hops that we're going to dry. Now, if you know what happens with, you don't really, the bitterness actually comes from the lupulin gland. That's basically that has oil in it. So when you're drying it out, you're not drying out anything from the hop, the bitterness. If you're drying it, you're actually just drying out the wetness of the hop, and the oil will stay there. All right. That's why if you have wet hop beers, you're gonna make it. It'll be like vegetable, because vegetable. Well, anyway, because there's still some dampness in the actual leaf itself. All right. So I've only gotten but maybe about halfway done. So what I'm gonna do is just lay another. Make sure everything is in here. I'm just gonna lay down another filter here, and then everything else should work out just fine here. So like I said, I still have plenty of more hops to pick from my plant outside, but I'm just kind of doing it one by one. Okay, so that should be enough. Now obviously you don't want the fan going on and blowing the hops up, so I bought about 4 of these. So then I'm just going to put another filter on there on the top. Now what you could do is, at first I started just using these paper clips, but they didn't really work out too well. So actually I just happen to have, just right next door to where we are in my my room here, I actually just happen to have 2 heavy coat hangers here. And then that's it. So this will be way down, and then I turn this on high, and I usually leave it on overnight. It's going to be a little bit longer today because I've got some things I have to do, so it'll probably be sometime tomorrow morning when I'm going to take these out. And then I'm going to vacuum seal them. So I'm going to turn this on, and that's it. You get to walk away, and that's about it, really. It's really pretty simple. We're at about 20 hours right now of drying. Way too much longer than you need to. I mean, it doesn't have to be that long, but it doesn't hurt anything to let them dry for 20 hours. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off here, and take off my weights, aka metal hangers. I'll take a peek here, and those look pretty dry to me. Take a look at the other layer. Usually if I use more than 2 layers of the filter here, I like to kind of swap them out. So this way they get evenly distributed with, to get the wind or the air from the fan here. But 20 hours, 2 layers, it won't make a big difference at all. Now we're going to go ahead and vacuum seal them. When you vacuum seal your hops, or vacuum seal anything, as a matter of fact, always write down before you put in whatever you're vacuum sealing, right on the label here. I learned that the hard way a number of times. So that's the deal with the vacuum sealer. I want to quickly point out to you as well that the screens you could reuse. I mean, there's just some leaves here, and I'll just go outside and wave them out around, and you could reuse them. So which is actually good about those filters. I actually was able to get about 1.5 ounces out of this. Then that's a dry weight, and which actually isn't bad. And that, like I said, this is the 3rd harvest, I'll say, from my tree outside. So I guess I'm up to about now 5.5 ounces from the tree outside, which isn't bad. Oh, missed one right here. And I'm going to go ahead and vacuum seal them and then put them in the freezer. The thing about vacuum sealing, if you really want to use hops and freeze them, vacuum sealing is fantastic. Usually what I'll do is I'll get a large amount. If I'm using pellet hops, I'll use a large bag and then seal it up and then continue to reuse the same bag, because it's kind of silly not to do that. So All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take care of this. And there you have it. 1.5 ounces of my hops from outside, dried and vacuum sealed and ready to go into a beer at some point in the very near future. Take care, guys, and hope this was helpful.